Welcome to another episode of Data Analytics Chat. I'm Ben Parker, data recruiter and podcast host, looking to share knowledge and insights for the listeners and data community. Today, I'm excited to welcome Milan Dhore, Director of AI Strategy and Cloud Engineering at the Hartford. In this episode, we'll explore his career journey, how he got started, pivotal moments that shaped his path, and look at current industry challenges. Milan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Ben. Nice to be here.
Good. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Likewise.
Brilliant. So, do you want to start off with sharing your journey and what inspired you into this field?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Definitely. I started as basically when I started my career, I initially got trained on the .NET, Java, all kind of front-end technologies. But somehow, eventually I got an opportunity to start working with some data project and more as a data engineer. We were working as a shell, Unix, shell script and all kind of legacy technologies. My journey was interesting and it really excited me being a data person. Earlier I was thinking, oh, this is just a back end job, but I started realizing over my career, like it is a fascinating work. It is definitely a great thing. Almost 2 decades I will be completing in industry and very curious about the technology changes in the data world, however we are going. 2012 onwards, I started working on the cloud and that really changed my mind, really changed my approach. And thereafter that, I started working as a solution architect from the data engineering space. Then the big data really spun up very well. Most of part of the financial industry. And in the financial industry, there's a huge data. I got to work with a lot of great data, domains, expertise, credit card data, so, the auto finance kind of a data. And after the 2012, my journey started in the cloud, big data world. After that, I also accepted few role which is more into the architecture space. It again fascinating world where I started working as a solution architect and data architecture. ML journey is something I started with Hartford, which was a wonderful thing. Another stepping stone for my learnings and my expertise on the ML side really helped me to grow in this field. Other than that, now this is really a evolving field. I would say lot changing. Market is very volatile in the lot of factors, the economy, the global challenges, what we have. But the importance of data, now I started feeling increasing day by day. People wants to come here, and I'm very glad I was a part of the data domain for years now. It definitely helped me to learn the challenges what we do in day-to-day work. But now the data technologies are considering different way. Like now the intelligence is very cheap because we can get the intelligence system anywhere, everywhere, lot of them. But how about the quality of data? How the governance of data? How can you audit the challenges what we have? Personal information, whatever we are exposed in the on the internet. So all those things we are really going towards that direction. Very excited for the being a part of this journey. And currently I'm working as a AI strategist. But believe me, this is really a changing era. And the AI, we call it AI, but we were always doing an AI. But now how we are doing and the speed of the bringing a new products, new use cases, new approaches is really fascinating. And I think we are in the best part of the human history. I think the best era of the human history, because this technology phase I haven't seen, at least I haven't seen the day I started working.
So,
This is the Yeah.
what was this fascinating? You obviously started in software. I guess everyone wanted to be back in working in software. Now it's changed. Everyone wants to work in data, isn't it? Was it just that you, obviously, for your studies? Was it you got an interest in the software field, or yeah, how did that interest come, or did you fall into a job? Obviously, it's fascinating to see here how people get start their careers.
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. So I started, as I said, I started with the .NET and Java like an applications. But somehow eventually I got a work in the data field. I was working on the shell script and Unix data processing pipelines, which was connecting to the mainframe and COBOL, and there were a lot of transactions flowing in the system. But when I started working on that, it definitely fascinated me. Okay, this is an amazing thing, you can deploy a UI anywhere, and like this is a change. But the change in data is something really helped me. And when I started, it was a very initially the technology was limited. I was working as a data integration person, like the ETL developer kind of thing. um, but what exactly fascinates me in the software industry is just not like you have to make sure that you process the data from one place to other, but there are a lot of the domains we have in this, right? We have a data quality challenges, we have a data, the data availability challenges, the governance challenges, the data lineage challenges. So this really gave me a lot of exposure to this side of the software development cycle. Again, like 15 years back, there was an impression data was always a back end work. 15 years back, we used to hear from our seniors like, okay, this is really in a back end person. You are working on database or you are processing some data and making sure that you are making available for customer. But I feel now the data and data analytics is on the forefront of the industry, and I think that really excites me all the time. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But I think obviously, I mean, a lot of the software is getting more and more embedded into data now, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
even data engineering. You look at it; it's a blend of skills now. You've got to keep learning and moving, hasn't you?
Right. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree with that. Earlier, it was just you collect the data from 10 or 12 sources used to have a files. We used to have a lot of data in somewhere databases which are external, internal. But now there are multiple heterogeneous sources of data, and it really, you will get fascinated. Currently, we are working with some real-time processing, which is amazing. Like you are getting on all the transactions on real time and doing analytics on the top of that on the real time, near real time, let's say that, and giving a report on the near real time, which is amazing, which is a fascinating. Earlier, we used to have 24 hours of an delay for getting the business intelligence to the leaders or the folks, right? So again, the definition of data engineering also changed. The use cases got changed. The way people look at the data is changed. But still, I feel that every industry, even any industry, manufacturing, finance, insurance, I feel that the data governance and data quality is still not considered as a high priority. And I think the AI systems, what we are bringing, or onboarding in the market, definitely will bring this point and as a concern. I feel we should really focus on that part of it because the technology has given a lot of options to process the data, to represent the data, to create a reporting requirement all the time. But the lineage of data is very important. There's a lot of redundancy in a system where a lot of data sets are repeatedly sitting into the same, like as from our side also, our company has a lot of copies of the same data. It is a cost to company. It is a resiliency problem. Then another thing is like you are really putting an effort which should not be there, right? So these kind of challenges should really address, and I think industry is not doing a great job. I always feel that.
I think obviously there's lots of changes, and I think
Yes,
that's the hard challenge, isn't it? You're moving the goalposts, and it's everyone's different, like how you adapt. So,
absolutely.
what do you see as like a big challenge that businesses are facing today? Then,
Oh, wonderful. The big challenge, as for my understanding and the limited knowledge what I have in this changing data world or data analytics and AI and Gen AI, almost like 2 years back, I started researching or working towards the AI systems, and I even myself was a learner in the space, right? But if I see 2 years back and today, like 2 years back, there were a lot of company, most of their products were in preview mode, right? But now they are already in the market. I feel there is a lot of the biggest challenge to bridging the gap between the potential data requirement and the real business value. because we are jumping from one technology to other technology to other, but the you need to make sure that we focus on the ROI, the return on investment, where we are spending the money, how the businesses should focus, how they can create a value out of each product. Not every company required a same kind of an objective or same kind of goal. Let me give an example. The bigger challenge here is like some technology companies launching a technology product does not mean the business company really follow their route, right? Business company, the most essential thing for a business company is the business value, and we are driven by the business revenues, like our customer, making our customer happy on that side of the thing. We have commercial product, we have retail products. How can we really make sure the system attached to these products get better and better day by day, rather than just following this one or two technologies? So the biggest challenge is to focus on ROI, bridging the gap between potential data, whatever available, and the real business value. And many organizations are doing. I'm not saying nobody's doing it, but also remove the silos in the data, ethical AI or data quality, governance, and making sure that the availability of data is with all the guardrails in the system, from security, compliance, and all those challenges. I feel that those are the bigger challenges. Yeah.
With the terms of obviously ROI, it's obviously the stakeholders the big question. Is it just the uncertainty of models that is the challenge for businesses, or is it just too many projects? Obviously, we saw when the LLM boom happened. Obviously, a lot of businesses, stakeholders wanted to go down the Gen AI route.
Mm.
What do you think? What do you think is the big problem there then?
That's a wonderful question, believe me. And not only you're the first who asked me, and glad we are discussing this here. Yeah, there. So as I said, like 2 years back, there was a burst happen. See, the transformer model in the market for since 2017, right? It wasn't new. But the OpenAI's news really create a buzz in the market, right? And all leaders, I feel personally, all leaders and all the companies, the executives and SLTs, ELTs started learning, okay, what is a good and bad for this, right? If I follow by willingness, like, will that be a good for my company, my stocks, my industry? Or if I follow by force, will that be really good? So there is a lot of insecurity happen in that. But at this moment, market is so volatile. We are getting every better and better product every day. So it's very easy for a human mind to get diverted. But and there are a lot of leaders, I don't want to say nobody's thinking about it, but there are a lot of leaders who still believe ROI, the return on that investment. Let's say if I'm spending a certain amount of dollar on my one of the product, what is this, the return on that particular product, right? How am I really gaining a new customers? Am I gaining a new revenue out of that, right? Those kind of discussion I'm pretty sure happening. But as I said, like they are, the leaders are also insecure in coping up with the market, right? Because we are getting every day doing the changes in the offerings from the hyperscalers, right? 2 years back, whatever we were doing, everybody was focusing on the retrieval augmented generation is a big thing. Yeah, it is a big thing today as well, right? After 2 years, but you don't have to develop it. There are out of the box products who can give you that offering, right? So now whoever spent millions of dollar 2 years back on the RAG like a pattern, or the retrieval augmented generation like an implementation or use case, now they might be regretting themselves. And this is really, we have to keep learning from failure, but we have to make sure that we create a strategy, we create a goal, objective of using AI and Gen AI, and then that tag to our ROI part of it and our business value part of it. Yeah, we can always get fascinated by the technology. And I myself get confused most of the time. Should I use this or that or that? Or should I ask my teams to, focus on this part or that part? It's very usual. It's more of a human nature, I would say.
Yeah, I think a lot of leaders do say that. Like a big thing is how can we scale quick enough? That's the thing, isn't it? Like it's
Right. Right. I agree.
like I said, there's a lot happening in the field. Obviously, scaling it, you want to do it as quick as possible because then obviously it's going to keep the costs as minimal as possible.
Yeah, I agree. There's just before we move to the next question, There are 3 points I always feel, and I believe, and it resonates with me. We should focus on the ROI part of it. The one point which is, how can we, sorry, how can we make sure that there is a super intelligence, but what is the cost of that, right? Are we really in the position to, bear that cost? Means get fast, but smart learner, right? Because you are spending a dollar amounts on your everything is not really possible. What I would say, digital legacy thinking for sure, and adopt more adaptive learning, right? Because you never know what you are doing today will be more valuable. There is a deep seek effect. I always feel deep seek effect. What I mean is, like, 2 years back, we were thinking we have to spend a lot of amount on our hardware or our software or effort, right? So DeepSeek proved that no, if you focus on the smart system rather than big marketing, I think you will get most out of it, right? So then the ROI part will be more less risky. I think, most of the big hyperscalers were, it was a ego driven spending we did, right? And we did not really lean on the smarter system. We were more focusing on the bigger systems, right? And the third thing which always resonate me is the data as a new frontier. That's what I feel personally. I personally feel that we are a data people, and I think the quality over a quantity, more prioritized, curated, secure data, how the analytics make easy, accessible to everyone. That's my personal, learning and opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, no, interesting. Also, I guess it's a lot of food for thought for businesses, isn't it? It's the constant
Right.
evolving. Then, like I
Yes.
said, just constant learning. It's the only way you're going to
Right.
progress.
Yes, I agree.
So, obviously, I've had a successful career, worked for some good companies. So, looking back, what were the key moments that shaped your career? Do you feel?
Oh, that's interesting. There are a few things which really shaped my career. Is, as I said, I got into the cloud world in 2012. Before that, most of my approaches, most of my thought process were strategic, point in time, right? A word do not age like that, right? But point in time. But the cloud provided me a lot of opportunities, and with the help of cloud, because there were a lot of things which I started learning. Like, I came to know how the networking works. Then I came to know how the infrastructure works, how the deployment of a server works, right? Which was not really a part of my previous work, right? Which was not a part of my previous learnings, right? So I definitely had a great starting point. When I look back, there are few moments which I feel on my personal ground when I got too much into the big data world, right? Or when I got too much into the machine learning world. I started from scratch. I started like reading the books, how the machine learning works. I wasn't the data scientist, right? But I was a data person, so it definitely was an advantage to me how the algorithm training works. So I trained few models by myself. Then I started learning, okay, this is an interesting field. Now, I did not realize 6, 7 years back when I started with this. But now today I realize understanding the transformer model or understanding the large language model really made easy for me when I really look back and say that, okay, that's what great opportunities I got to create ML ops or practices or doing a generative AI platform work or use case work. It definitely was a great journey for me. For the leading the enterprise wide generative AI or ML work for the transformative perspective was a one amazing moments for me. Lot got from my leaders. There were great mentor I met. I would say if I look back, I think those are the great moments for me, where fortunately I always got a great mentors, and that's really a fortunate of me. There are a lot of people who wants to do a right thing, but they did not get a right guidance, I would say, and that wasn't the case with me, I would say.
I think you can't obviously knowledge is. Yeah, if you learn from someone that's been there, done it, and who's good at their job and knows what they're doing, obviously it's going to
Right.
stand you in good stead, basically.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
obviously you've dabbled in a lot of different markets, software, cloud, and obviously now data. And obviously this is big areas. So what's been like biggest challenge in your career? And for listeners, how did you overcome it? think it's always fascinating to see how people deal with setback.
Okay, that's a great question. Everyone have their own journey, I would say, and I believe that. And we should definitely focus on our goals, which we usually do. But there are few things which we cannot decline, and we have to accept those things. The bigger challenges I started facing when I got into the cloud journey, I was not really an infrastructure person, or I was not a networking person. But as I said, I really got a great mentor who motivate me to learn and gain the skills. Those were things. The first time when we were doing a cloud migration, that was one of the bigger challenge. But now it seems very easy because it was like 12 years back we are talking about. There were a lot of risk, how to align the stakeholder during that time, how to make sure that we are selling something which is completely new in the market. And I think today also I'm doing the same thing. We are selling to a lot of leaders who are a very business SMEs. They have a great knowledge. They have a base understanding of operations, the business operations, processes, and we are trying to sell them the technology which is already making a buzz in the market. So let's say if those kind of stakeholder alignment, the challenge I faced in the past, and today also I'm facing. But I overcame it by building a strong interdisciplinary teams. That's what I say. Embrace more automation or learning fast or going to the technologies which excite me as well as my team, right? I'm always a proponent of a change, believe me, because it's not only excite me as a person, but it also keep me relevant in the system. I cannot say what I learned 20 years back or 10 years back is still relevant, right? I'm just making fool out of me, right? So there were a lot of challenges in general. I will tell you when we were doing the first time cloud migration, or we were doing when I was working as an architect, like the first solution I designed, I tried to think how 360-degree I could think, but still I couldn't align my stakeholder. So those challenges I still have in my mind. I noted down somewhere that because I like to celebrate my failures because that helped me to grow in the lot of other overcoming the or building the strong relationship with my colleagues or stakeholders or something like that. There is one more challenge I faced the first time when I was learning the when I was learning the machine learning or ML work, right? I was doing the ML work, training the algorithm. I was really talking to stakeholder who are not really a business stakeholder, but they're like a data scientist. You are arguing on the statistic with the data scientist. You are trying to make them understand like how the ML operations will work in your system. How should you think beyond Excel or this technology, or how should you think beyond Python libraries? What kind of Python libraries are advanced? But one thing is the Python libraries which allow you to do a lot of things or you train your algorithm. But the other thing is the infrastructure wing, right? There is another thing is like how much of agility you provide to your system. So these are the challenges I faced during that journey. Otherwise, we all of us face the challenges when the technology change, approach change, unless until you are just doing the same job what you used to do 10 years back. So that's what my take on that. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that's good. It's just it's always interesting to hear what people's challenges are because you're going to go through, and I think like obviously failure is a tough word. It's more, I think it's more you want to learn, isn't it? And learn quick. Don't keep
Right,
going over
right,
keep going over the same error. You got to
right.
learn and move on. Like obviously, you're not gonna. You need to progress basically.
Yes, I agree.
With
I agree with that.
that, then, what skills or traits have helped you stand out in the field?
Okay, that's interesting. I always feel personally, and I love to say that, another role, it's not about the role or title or the words. I like to do a strategic thinking. Some technical expertise you can gain. Whoever have a great curiosity about the technology can gain. I don't want to call myself technology lover now. I started calling myself as a technology professional because if you get in the love with specific technology, the technology may not be available. So I would say a combination of strategic thinking, technical expertise, and the real customer focus. what is the ask? I don't want to do just because sake of doing. I want to make sure that my customers or who is asking or who is requesting the work, it could be a business leader or it could be a technology leader, does not matter. These are the three things I focus: strategic thinking, technical expertise, and customer focus. When I say technical expertise, there are few things which I know, there are few things which I don't know, but I should have a curiosity to find it out. These are the skills I really focus and which help me all the time standing out in the industry. When you very specifically talk about the data, there are a lot of pipeline which I developed as a developer, so it definitely helped me how data works. But there are a lot of opportunities. I got to work in the data architecture. I got an opportunity to work in the data engineering or the big data world, right? So I will not say one or two skills, but I will still say as a data person, you should more focus on doing the hands-on work. Write out something by yourself. I'll still write something just as a fun. I write something to learn for myself because otherwise I don't get a time or chance, right? So if you see my writing is like sometimes it is very focused on strategy, sometimes it's very focused on engineering and technology. So that's how I think I try to keep myself. And these are the skills which I really focus. Like whatever comes on the technology side, I should learn. But there is another thing which I feel, Ben, always will stand out in the industry is the great collaboration and the great teamwork, right? You cannot alone achieve anything, and you have to make sure that these are the skills you need to really talk to your teams, understand from them. There are a lot of things I learned from them, there are a lot of things which I can share with them. So this is something I always feel. And the data side, as I said, like the you have to get your hands dirty with the data, how to create a lineage in the data, how to think more broader, more strategically, just not think about input and output part of it, right? What is down the line after 2 or 3 years, what my system will look like, how my system will look like. There were a lot of SaaS offerings I work, and I'm always a fan of a SaaS, but I want to limit uses of SaaS because the reason is that you get into lock-in stage, then your system will not really have any opportunity to get off that, right? There is no agnosticity in that, right? So all kind of approaches make you stand out, right? Because you have to balance your thought process. You have to balance your approach. It could be a technology or it could be a business process automations. I would say that way. I hope that helped.
Yeah, that's good. I think, like I said, well, again, like, obviously, I work in recruitment. It's important you get the right balance in the team, isn't it? So you can again get in. If you've got a really good team, everyone's talented. You're going to learn from each other, and that's going to just going to get
Right,
momentum, isn't it, to deliver?
right,
Um, so I think I think team. So I mean, look, any sports team, if one position don't perform, you're going to lose the match.
right.
It's same in work, isn't it? If you've got someone who's not competent as required, it's going to add challenges to your delivery objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that example. I love that what you said. Absolutely.
So obviously you touched on it. Obviously I like your passion, like you obviously doing extra stuff in sort of your personal time. So how do you stay relevant and like with the growing changes in data and AI?
Mhm. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, staying relevant in today's world is really difficult. It's a very difficult job, believe me, because we haven't seen 20 years back, we haven't seen so much change in the technology or the data world, right? There was a changes, but it was slow, it was, moderate, right? It's not so drastic, not 360-degree change, right? First of all, let me answer for myself is how I learn. Basically, I try to do some research, sometimes some certifications. Now I slow down on the certification because certification need a dedicated time to just read in the sequence. Nowadays, the things which are exciting are like how the market is changing. There are a lot of companies who are really providing better products. Like Think about Google. A year back, we were saying why Google started with Transformer and why Google is not there. Now Google is there. I was just testing some time back the Firebase Studio, which was they came with amazing product, which is free of cost. They came with agent to agent protocol like an approved. So I try to research on that. I also follow some blogs, but apart from the blogs I follow, have some of the subscription which I usually recommend, like TechCrunch and all. Gartner and McKinsey is always my friend, so I also try to learn from them. More of my research and certifications and industry events which really excite me and keep me relevant. Make sure that whatever I know is really relevant today. I don't want to assume I know everything, but whatever I know, I want to make sure that it is relevant today. And that's what my way of keeping me relevant. Reading about something is another thing, which is listen to podcast when I'm driving from home to office or office to home, like you, and I follow you as well now. Thanks for
Good.
the details. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. I didn't know that, but now I follow you as well because you are very specific to data world, and that's really excites me. So I think that's how I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's like I said, a lot of people now are listening to podcasts,
Right.
doing the learning. I think also like you need obviously with the changes, I think it does help where
Hmm.
like you've done a lot of work with financial services and insurance, you've stuck to similar industries. I think that adds value
Right.
because then you've got the mindset of like understanding the
Hmm.
business.
Right.
Because like you've got
Hmm.
tools now that can do the heavy lifting. Like, I mean, like coding, like obviously you don't need to do as much. So
Yeah.
if you can actually understand, like from the business point of view, like how tech can actually impact the business in terms of growth, or whatever the objective is, you're going to be more aligned to making impact, and having that understanding and knowledge, aren't you?
Yeah. I agree. I'm totally agree with. Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
So I guess what career advice would you give someone starting in industry today?
Yeah. I would say there is all one thing which I personally follow when I start with any new thing, any change. I start from a ABCD of that work. I start from a scratch where I don't know anything like that. Like to take an example of a cloud. So I started reading the documentation first rather than relying on some decks, PPTs or blogs because you directly jump into something, then you miss out a lot of things. So from a learning perspective, I would say somebody wants to come in the data, they have to do a lot of hands-on work because data something cannot be just understood conceptually and not doing anything. Somebody wants to really take a data seriously, and I think it's really a serious business now, right? I just don't want to be calling myself as a data analyst and I'm not aware of new techniques, new approaches, how customer think, how real customer focus means to me. Because most of the times I have seen there are a lot of people who talk to me and a lot of people who reported in me in the past. They always focus on the technology stack of the things, right? Hey, I will learn this, I will learn that. It's not about using various technologies like a Databricks or Python or PySpark to process the data. It's about how much you know about the data, how much domain expertise you have, how much you know what is the data concepts means to you, what is the meaning of warehouse versus the data marts. When should we use iceberg like an architecture where you are just scrolling through or creating a cataloging through the objects storages, right? So these kind of approaches will come, and I think somebody really wants to get into this field. My advice is to start from a scratch where you don't know anything. Start from a level zero. It will help you to grow faster. It will help you to make a master in the field. There are a lot of fields which I am not master because I might not got an opportunity to learn or read or work, but I want to make sure that where I work, I want to be a master in that field. At least I try to become a master in that field. I would say that was my advice to it. Read from a level zero. That's the best way you should start.
Brilliant. I like that. I said, stick to what you want to become a master in because obviously there's so many different avenues you can go into, can't you? And like if you know bits and pieces from each, obviously, yeah, you got a bit of knowledge, but you want to be the king or queen in whatever
Mhm.
industry where it is. If it's data engineering, it's machine learning, you want to excel, don't you? Because that's where you can add the most value to the domain.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would like to add to that. That's absolutely right. One thing is maybe it's true for me, but not for everyone who born like late 2000 or somewhere that more of this generation. When I started in my college days or school days, I remember we used to get a computer very not so easily. It was not so easily available or accessible, right? So I was so used to with books. I don't want to say I'm a bookish guy, but what I mean to say is like I started reading books more for any technology, like Unix, shell script. I don't know. Okay, I will go and buy a book and read it. The one thing I got a habit of that is like you get a sequence, of a learning. Like you start from a level 0, 1, 2, 3. The book give you that ability to learn something in the right way. The book give an ability to streamline your thought process, to streamline your skills, to energy, and it makes sure that you understand end to end. You understand end to end picture of it. But most of the times I've seen people read from here and there somewhere a little bit and then they feel that they know. And I think uh, that is okay. If we don't know everything is fine with me, but I want to make sure that streamlining of a thought process, streamlining of a learning the skill is should be there. And I personally follow that. So I might be a old style way doing it, but there might be a new ways to do it. I don't know that. Yeah.
Nice, some great insights. Okay, then to end, I mean, is there a particular achievement you're most proud of in your career?
Oh, it's yet to come. I would say there are a lot I got an opportunity to work. I'm proud of leading a design and implementation of cloud implementations or generative AI initiatives. What we had, and we had like 2 years back when market was not even thinking of it. Not everyone in the business market was thinking of it. Let me put it that way. Don't want to misspoke something, but there are initiatives which I delivered not only. Created a measurable result, but also established some new standards and best practices at the enterprise level, which are related to the data. It might be related to some big blue chip items during our cloud migration journey. Definitely, that is one thing. I was a part of the Center of Excellence for a Big Data in early days, which was another, I don't want to say achievement, but those was a great learning for me. So I'm really proud of that. And I'm proud of that. Like I got an opportunity to work on that. I got an opportunity to connect with the various cross-functional teams, a lot of terabytes and petabytes of data, terabytes of data we were processing every day, and which was amazing. Yes, that is something I feel my achievements.
Brilliant. I think it's always good, isn't it? I think you can get so carried away with work that look back where you've come from, like what you've achieved, because it's progression,
Mhm.
isn't it? And I think it's so easy to overlook what you've done, and I think it's good to look. Oh, I've done X, I've done Y, I've delivered
Mhm.
Z. I think it's good to look back and just remember that you've accomplished a lot from where you began, and
Yeah,
now you're heading up projects.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. That is how I think so, because whatever I did in the past, I definitely I like to unlearn. Let me put it that way, because if I keep holding what I know, I will never come to know something new. So I still say I am proud of I got an opportunity to work on the those things, but I'm still looking for a lot of great things in the market which I still not aware of, right? Or which I'm still learning, right? I think the learning and the skill upgrade attitude will make you very happy in this field, believe me. Because every day you know something which will create some kind of inner peace. At every night, I don't get nowadays so much of time at a night time, but usually when I get a chance, I read some blog and I see some new term. Like 4 months back, I talk about model context protocol in one of the article, and now it become a big thing. Now I loved it, right? Because whenever I see some new thing, I would like to learn, and it keep me happy, keep me more relevant, as we talked earlier. So yeah, I'm really proud of that thing which I really came across my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing some great insights, information, and obviously congrats on your career today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thanks for giving me this opportunity and thanks for having me today. I'm really appreciated your help and your guidance on this. I know we had some glitch at the start, but that you really wonderfully did this. And thanks for connecting with me as well. And you are so proactive, and I have seen that you are so proactive in all the events, whatever happening, and I really appreciate that. Your follow-ups, your proactiveness to reaching out, talking to me, and definitely a great topic you have given. Great questions, by the way. I love the question. And I think I said that in one of the, I think one time as well in the past. So great questions.